Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Villa View. We've got a special edition today as we're joined by Ryan from the Aston Villa Foundation to talk to us a little bit about teamwork and what they're doing over there in the foundation. I am stepping in for Dan Bardell today. Obviously, it's not the most familiar face, but I'm hoping that you'll have a lot of insight as to what goes on at the foundation from today, and there's lots of information for you guys to hear. Hi, Ryan. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, Aaron. I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about teamwork? Why was it launched, Ryan? What is it?
Yeah, so teamwork is basically a platform or a project to raise awareness around mental health and try to promote and encourage people to be more physically and socially active. So the main reason it was launched was off the back of COVID. So with the club staying up in the Premier League a couple of seasons ago, it enabled us to access some funding through the Premier League. So what we wanted to do is focus on something that was a high priority as a health agenda, both within the city and across the UK. And I think the effects of COVID that we can all sympathise with has had an impact on everybody's mental health in some form or shape. So for us, it was looking at what could we do as a club with a platform that we have to promote positive mental health and to engage the fan base and the local community. So those are the main premise and reason that we launched and focused on the focus agenda that we focused towards on mental health, really.
Fantastic. That's great. And is it going okay so far? Everything's going well?
Yeah, so we've been active now for 6 months. The project mainly runs across 3 themes, and in those 3 themes we've had success across the board, really. So the first theme being very much focused towards the physical side of things. So prior to COVID, we used to run a project called Think Football, which was mainly targeted towards males and females, anyone aged 18 plus, living with any form of mental health illness. So whether that was depression, anxiety, to those more complex mental health conditions such as psychosis. So wide range of different groups and audiences that were attending. And obviously COVID meant that we couldn't continue with that. However, what we have done now is, with restrictions lifting, is we've been able to reintroduce that physical element. So we now run 2 football sessions. So we run one on a Wednesday and one on a Tuesday evening, both based at Villa Park. Predominantly we do get Villa fans attending, but it's not solely just for Villa fans, so you don't need to be a Villa fan to attend. We're not going to kick you out if you're a Blues fan. But there are predominantly more Villa fans that are involved than not. And the essence of the session is really just to create an inclusive environment, get guys playing football in an environment that's safe, inclusive, but also what we try to do is promote the social side of things as well. So there's breakout areas where guys can have a sit down, have a bit of a chat, find out a little bit more about one another, as well as speaking to the staff. The second element of that is the campaigns. So what we try to do is we link into the national campaigns through the NHS campaigns calendar on mental health and wellbeing. So far this year, we've run campaigns on Time to Talk, Stress Awareness Month, Mental Health Awareness Week, and more so at the moment, Men's Health Week. And then we've got other campaigns that are running throughout the remainder of the calendar year. So again, the main premise of that is we release resources, different content, sharing stories. So again, a way of building up resilience, building coping strategies, and getting people to connect, both socially and physically. So as part of that as well, we run workshops, again, inviting partners to talk a little bit about how to further increase their resilience, as well as leaning on people with lived experience as well, to share their stories and offer valuable insight for people to understand how they could put some of those coping mechanisms into their daily life too. And then the final part of the campaigns element is the virtual walking, cycling and running groups that we have. So again, they're hosted on Twitter. So there's a Twitter angle for each of those groups. And then there's a Strava app which is attached to them. So again, people can share their activities. They can be socialise on those platforms too. So again, I think we've got 650, 700 members across those groups. So really active groups, and again, working with the fan groups on these campaigns again are really important, because what it does enable us to do is cascade that message a little bit further, as we are doing today on Villa View, which is like I said, a great opportunity for us. And then the third and final part is the education. So that's not necessarily kicked off yet, but we have got a staff member that's going to be trained as a mental health first aid cascade tutor. So we're going to be delivering mental health first aid within the community, targeting local micro community organisations, grassroots football clubs. So there's that mental health champion within that establishment. So people can go to them, find out a little bit more about how they can cope better, what activities and what services are out there to support them, really.
Yeah, it's fantastic, Ryan. There's so much great work going on there, mate. And I think what's really important is that it's all coming from a football background. I think a hell of a lot of these people that will be involved in the campaigns and teamwork and what you're doing will be pulled because it's all being done by the club that they love. And I love that theory. I love that aspect. So that's really great work. In regards to Men's Mental Health Week, then this week specifically, what are the scheduled activities going on this week for Men's Health Week? What are you doing? What's planned ahead for the rest of the week?
Yeah, so the start of the week, we released a video just talking a little bit more about the Teamwork Football project, which went across our social media platforms. So again, you can check that out and find a little bit more about the project. Hear from one of the participants as well, talking about their experience of being involved for both post-COVID, or when we say post-COVID, post sort of restrictions lifting, as well as obviously prior to COVID as well, and the valuable engagement they get from playing football, but also meeting others. Tuesday, we ran a workshop, again, trying to engage with men across the board, with partners talking about, again, those resilience techniques, how to be more physically active and the benefits of being physically active on your mental health. And again, Aaron obviously was a part of that, talking about your lived experience. And again, it's great insight for those that were on the call on the time. Obviously, we've got the podcast today with Villa View, which again is invaluable to cascade that message even further and raise further awareness. And then towards the end of the week, we've got some lived experience, again, from one of our current participants talking about their journey from start to finish. So they started when Think Football first launched just over 4 years ago, and how it's helped them to get back into employment, build their resilience, and find that confidence really to get back into society. And then we've got a really unique opportunity with Ruben from the academy at Villa, talking about sort of nutrition. So again, a bit of an insight to what the players eat prior to games, and how to best look after yourself by eating healthily, really. So jam-packed sort of events and activities this week. And again, we're hoping just as many people engage with it as possible and find it valuable in terms of the content that's been released.
Yeah, it's amazing. Really, really good. And I think what you're doing this week is a really positive thing. You know, ultimately, what we want to try and achieve is getting more men, one, to speak about their well-being, speak about how they feel mentally, and to express their emotions to each other and to people that they know can support them. But also doing it in this football context, again, I think is really powerful, because football is a belonging for a lot of people. Football is a community for a lot of people. For a lot of people, it's family. It's where your best friends are. It's where your closest companions are. So to do those things together, I think is really great. So great work, Ryan. What are the end results? What would you want to be achieving from doing things like this week specifically?
Yeah, I think towards the end of this week, what I see, and I touched upon it a little bit earlier, was just basically to create more awareness, get people more talking more, being that little bit more physically active, being more conscious about their mental health, like you said. I think men historically don't talk to one another, don't open up, and there's more. I suppose there's a stigma attached to it. There's a weakness if men talk, and that's not the case. And I think that those barriers are starting to break down, which is great. But for us, it's like you said, the platform that the club creates means that we can engage a whole host of more males than you would if you were going through sort of clinical support services within the city. And I think for us, what we want to do is have those joined up approaches. So we're working with a vast amount of partners, and encouraging more people, like I says, to socialise, be physically active, and hopefully, like I says, improve their mental health, whether that's through direct support or indirect support from the foundation, or seeking support from others, because they've heard a little bit about those services that are available through the platforms that we've got here at the foundation and across the club.
Yeah, great. If people want to get involved, Ryan, who aren't already involved, or perhaps would know someone that would like to be involved, how do they go about it? How do people go about getting involved in the Villa teamwork stuff?
Yeah, so again, what we've tried to do is try to create, I suppose, an approach that's user friendly. Sorry, so it enables people to feel that it's an easy approach. So what we've tried to do is we've created a direct email account, which is teamwork@avfc.co.uk. And through that email, you've got 3 staff members on the end of that email, which will pick up the email and get back to you within a 24-hour period. And that's the opportunity for you to ask any questions about the project. So whether you want to be involved in the physical activities, so that's football sessions that we've got running currently, to find out more about the campaigns, any upcoming workshops, the mental health first aid training when that's available. Everything will be directly through that email account. And then from that process, what we generally will do is then we'll have a conversation with that person, whether that's via email or over the phone, just to tell them a little bit more about what it is they've inquired about, and make them feel more comfortable about attending. Because again, you'll know yourself, I think attending something that you're unfamiliar with can be a little bit scary. So having spoke to somebody and then being a little bit more comfortable about attending that environment, I think it just offers that more friendly opportunity to attend. I think it's easy to attend something if you know that there's somebody there you've already spoken to and you're aware of what's going to be happening, rather than walking into sort of a blank canvas. So yeah, just a case of emailing teamwork@avfc.co.uk to find out more.
Lovely, thank you, Brian. Is there somewhere that we can put that on this as well? That would be great if we could. So plans for the future. What are the future plans for the campaign? What are we doing moving forward after this week's finished? Where are we heading into the new season? Exciting times, obviously, at Villa at the moment. Yeah. And I'm sure the foundation wants to try and keep on top of that as well and be a part of that excitement moving forward. So what are the plans, Dad?
Yeah, hugely. I think with the restrictions continuing to lift, what it does offer is an opportunity for us to get involved in more experiences on a match day. So you know yourself, if it's sell out of Villa Park, you're talking 42,500 people at the ground. What that offers us is a ready-made audience to engage, and what a better opportunity to do that than the return to Villa Park, which has obviously been a very difficult period for everybody. Anybody who's a Villa fan that is reliant on coming to the game every other week or every week, it's been difficult because that's not been possible over the last 18 months, apart from the last game of the season. However, what we want to do is have a joined up approach with the club. So what we have created as part of an internal process as well with the club now is we've got a working group. So we're working side by side now with the club to create strategies and implement movements going forward, where the foundation and the club are working very closely together to support the whole fan base. So again, having the opportunity to do that on a match day again is great. With the upcoming season, so I think obviously we've got a couple of months at the moment, we're looking at some potential events which we're going to be hosting at Villa Park. So again, keep a lookout on this space as what that will look like. So there's again plenty of opportunities up and coming. With the restrictions lifting, it offers more opportunities to do things face to face and not necessarily being reliant on virtual engagement, which again I think will be there for the foreseeable. Because again, it does offer opportunity for people that don't potentially live locally, that can't get to Villa Park. So again, we're still engaging with the fan base, although, like I said, it doesn't have to be Midlands based, it can be across the UK virtually. So lots of things up and coming. We continue to be sort of led by partners as well, so identifying what the need is. So if there's a new need or something that's coming to the fore to suggest that this physical activity approach would work best with a group, then that's something we'd look to implement. Obviously, we have to work within our limitations, so kayaking or skydiving and abseiling, that's probably not something we could do, unfortunately. I haven't got the skill set for that internally at the moment. However, like I said, there are opportunities to do more, both on the physical and the campaign side of things. And then with the introduction of the mental health first aid training that will, like I said, be hopefully launched in early September. Again, that really offers a unique opportunity for people to get involved. And we're also looking at the moment at bringing in a cognitive behavioural therapist who will be working on the front line across the services that we run, both from the adult services running as in the health and wellbeing department, but also in some of our other departments as well, such as intervention, so working with more younger adults and children. So we've got that skill set internally now to offer a real holistic approach. So really exciting times at the foundation. A lot has happened over the last 15 months, but I think one thing you'll have seen with the foundation is we've continued to grow. We've continued to recruit, we've continued to move forward, and I think as much as obviously the last 15 months has been a very difficult period for everybody, we've continued to try and do as much as we can to support as many people as we can.
Yeah, it's really great. It's really fantastic. I've certainly seen more of the foundation in the last 15 months, like you say, than we have ever before. We knew it existed. We knew the good work that was being done, but you've really wrapped it up another level, you know, and that's fantastic to see. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people in the Villa community that are chuffed to bits that they can be involved in some of the stuff that you're doing and take away that education and build that awareness and build that resilience. It's like what you're saying. And I think with the focus on physical activity as well is a real prominent one for me personally, and for a lot of people I think that are involved in the football world of Villa. You know, the benefits that physical exercise can give us, the bonuses that you can take away from being involved in something physical, I think are truly powerful. And I think if you're not involved in it, it can be really underestimated and it can be a little bit sidetracked. And when you start to be involved in something physical, when you start to be involved in something activity-based and exercise or walking, running, swimming, whatever it might be, you know, you soon feel the benefits from that. And I've seen that you've been involved with quite a few partners on that kind of physical side. So you've teamed up with like the Villa Running Club.
Yeah, so yeah, Danny runs a Villa Running Club. We've been working quite closely with Danny and obviously other partners as well, such as the cycling club and the walking club that were formed around the similar time that the Teamwork project was launched. And again, I don't think you can underestimate, as I mentioned earlier, that the physical benefits on your mental health. And I know, Aaron, obviously you talked a little bit about on the workshop Tuesday about the benefits for yourself. So again, I think that insight for people today I think would be great as well, because I think I found that invaluable, hearing about how physical activity, being active has affected positively your mental health. So
yeah, it's a you know, it's one of those things. I think for me, there's so much more than just being involved in physical activity because I like it. There's a lot more going on cognitively, a lot more going on with my mindset, with my motivation, with my focus in life, and the ability that physical activity has to take me away from all of those negative things going on, all those tough times, all those challenges. You know, physical activity for me, specifically the gym and rugby and football, have very much been that escapism for me. And that place where I can go and feel safe, secure, my sanctuary, if you like, my place where I can just break out from everything going on in the world and just focus on me for 2 hours and nothing else, and lift some weights and play some rugby and kick a football around and not have to worry about everything else that's going on. I think that in itself can be a real driver for people, particularly those that perhaps aren't already involved in physical activity or the gym or fitness or walking or running or whatever it might be. I think when you get involved in something like that and you allow yourself to become engaged with something like that, you can feel a real sense of purpose, a real sense of belonging, a real sense of identity. And I think for a lot of people, particularly men, over the last 15 months because of the pandemic, that identity and that belonging has been really difficult to find. That place of comfort and that place of purpose has disappeared because we haven't been able to do 99% of the things that we would normally be able to do. And I think being able to get back into that now, particularly having the outdoor space at a premium, you can get outside at any time, at any moment now. There are no restrictions on only 1 hour a day outside allowed. We are fully allowed to be outside now and do those physical things. And I think people should really take advantage of those things. I think the thing with fitness, the thing with exercise for me personally is the discipline and the focus that it's given me. And I think for my mindset and the way I think about my life mentally, exercise has really helped with that. It's really become an ally. It's become a buddy. It's become something that I can rely on, almost like an antidote, I suppose. If you talk about it like that, it's a bit of a medicine. Physical exercise is a medicine. It's a therapy. It's a way of putting all of my positiveness into one space to really just strive for an hour or two and clear my mind and become mentally clear about how things are going, reflect on my life, reflect on the things that are perhaps I'm struggling with, things that are proving to be a bit of a challenge at certain times in my life or that day, and really kind of find mindfulness and a place of hope and positivity. So I think a lot of people will be able to relate to that kind of concept. They might not think about it like that, but I think when you really sit down and focus on the things that you love doing, like exercise, you will find that exercise does offer you all of those things that I kind of discussed. And I think the fact that you can combine all of that behind the scenes with something like the foundation, with something like teamwork at a football club that so many people in the area support, love, and follow, and have followed for years, I think is a wonderful combination. So I think you guys should be really, really chuffed with the work that you're doing. I know the Villa View support that. I know many other people on Twitter and in the Villa community will support that. And long may it continue, Ryan. You're doing great work, and I wish you all the very best moving forward with it all.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. And I think one of the points that you just touched upon was identity. And I think that identity over the last 15, 18 months has been lost for a number of people. And again, going back to being at Villa Park on a match day, that was part of somebody's identity. Go to Villa Park, getting behind the team, having that social thing before the game, whether that's a drink before the game, meeting the same people on the stands, having a chat with the person you sit next to. That's been taken away over the last 15 months. And I think, like you said, as a male cohort, we do thrive on consistency. We thrive on having those social connections, those familiar faces, those same activities that we like to do and we enjoy. And I think with restrictions starting to now lift, it offers that opportunity. But I think what we're also trying to encourage again is people to look at new ways of engaging, new ways of sort of communicating and connecting with others, really. And I think, like I said, teamwork and working very closely with a club now, which is fantastic, enables us to do that even further and wider. And like you said, it's fantastic. We've got not just the club behind this, but we've got the Villa community as well. So whether that's fan groups or the fan base, I think we've had a real strong start to the project. Fortunately, the project's funded for 3 years as a minimum. So we're here till December 2023 as it stands, but we're already looking at opportunities to hopefully continue to run this sort of type of work for longer term.
Yeah, well, I think that has to be the goal ultimately, doesn't it? Because something like this, as with mental health, it hasn't just popped up in the last 12 months because of COVID. It's got progressively worse, I think, because of the pandemic. But mental health has existed for tens of years with people and the struggles that people go through. So to have that long-term goal and that sustainable plan, in the foundation with teamwork would be a fantastic thing. And I'm sure, 10, 20 years down the line, it's still being used, completely and beneficially for everybody that's involved. So, yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much for for coming on, mate, and talking to us about teamwork and sharing that information and giving us a bit of insight as to what's going on. I know a lot of people will be able to take away a lot of stuff from this. And if they aren't already involved, really make that step forward to get involved with what you're doing, because, not just this week, but everything that you've got planned moving forward, I'm sure there's an opportunity for everyone to be able to find something that they might be able to get involved with. So thank you very much for your time, Ryan. It's much appreciated.
No worries. Cheers, Aaron. Again, thank you for having me. And again, great opportunity to talk about teamwork. So all the best. Thank you.
Welcome. Take care, guys.